Before the world ever met the Brown family on television, Leon Brown was one of the children who quietly carried the emotional complexities of polygamy without drawing attention. But today, that same quiet child has grown into an adult whose single sentence has shaken the entire Sister Wives universe like an earthquake. Imagine a reality TV father who has spent years telling the world he loves all his children equally. Now imagine one of those children standing up and declaring to millions that the man viewers thought they knew was nothing more than a joke of a father. This is not a storyline crafted for drama. This is real, raw, personal, and it has ripped open a wound the Brown family can no longer hide from cameras, fans, or themselves. Leon Brown's explosive statement is more than a comment. It is a reckoning decades in the making. In the vast and ever-evolving world of Sister Wives, where personal stories unfold across television screens and social media feeds, the relationship between Kody Brown and his 18 children has remained one of the most polarizing aspects of the entire franchise. But recent events have taken the family narrative in a direction never anticipated, escalating from long-standing emotional tension to a public confrontation that has left viewers stunned. The catalyst behind this uproar is none other than Leon Brown, Mary's only biological child, whose blistering declaration, calling Kody a joke of a father, has ignited debate, heartbreak, and a wave of uncomfortable truth-telling that is sweeping across the fandom like wildfire. For years, Leon maintained silence around their complicated relationship with Kody. While many siblings began expressing frustration or hurt, Leon stayed noticeably reserved, rarely engaging in public criticism. But the sudden emergence of Leon's stinging words marks a turning point not only for them, but for the entire Brown family legacy. It is a moment that underscores the emotional fractures viewers suspected, yet could never fully confirm. A moment that lays bare the raw truth behind years of broken promises, fractured communication, and parental inconsistencies that shaped Leon's childhood and adulthood. What makes this revelation even more powerful is the simplicity of the statement. There is no long explanation or emotional thesis, just a direct, brutally honest truth that resonated with millions in seconds. It wasn't crafted for reality TV, it wasn't filtered through producers. It was an unfiltered emotional release from someone who has lived the complexities of the Brown household more intimately than any viewer ever could. To truly understand the magnitude of Leon's words, one must revisit the early years of Sister Wives, when the show entered American households as a fresh, bold look into a polygamous family, claiming to prioritize love, unity, and shared parenting. Kody Brown presented himself as a father who thrived in chaos, who loved the whirlwind of kids running around multiple houses, who insisted his calling in life was to be a nurturing father to all 18 children equally. In those early seasons, Leon often appeared thoughtful, responsible, and deeply observant, a child whose emotional intelligence stood out even then. But behind the scenes, as insiders and siblings later revealed, the cracks were already forming. Mary and Kody's marriage was struggling long before the cameras arrived, creating an emotional imbalance that inevitably affected the only child they shared. Being raised as the sole child in a household where every other wife had multiple kids placed Leon in a unique, often lonely, position. While other children had siblings to confide in, play with, and navigate family drama alongside, Leon had only their mother, whose own emotional struggles within the marriage often left her isolated and yearning for connection. This environment placed an unspoken emotional load on Leon. With Kody juggling time, attention, and affection between large households, Mary's smaller family unit naturally received less of his presence. Viewers often notice Leon's maturity, but few recognize that this maturity was forged in an environment where emotional needs often went unmet. As seasons progressed, the tension between Kody and his older children became more noticeable, especially when the family relocated from Utah to Las Vegas, then later to Flagstaff. Each move created more emotional distance, and Kody's efforts to maintain unity appeared increasingly strained. Leon, who was entering adulthood during these transitions, began to find their own path, one that diverged significantly from the traditional expectations of the Brown family's faith and structure. Their growing independence and evolving identity placed them in even more direct conflict with Kody's established worldview, and the father who once claimed to embrace individuality now appeared unable or unwilling to meet their child where they were emotionally. The situation intensified sharply during the COVID pandemic, a chapter many Sister Wives fans now view as the turning point of the family's collapse. Kody enforced strict rules that alienated several of his adult children, leading to tears, heated confrontations, and emotional severing that played out on national television. While many of his children openly clashed with him, Leon remained quiet. But insiders say this period caused some of the deepest hurt in the relationship, as Kody's priorities shifted heavily towards Robin's household, leaving other children feeling rejected and undervalued. Kody himself insisted repeatedly in confessionals that his adult children were the ones distancing themselves. But the children countered this narrative time and again. They argued that Kody placed conditions on love, required constant agreement with his decisions, and blamed them for reacting to years of emotional inconsistency. Leon, who had already begun distancing themselves from the religious structure and redefining their life on their own terms, found little support or understanding from the father who frequently preached fairness but rarely practiced it. All of these years of emotional disconnect, silent tension, and broken promises laid the foundation for Leon's explosive comment. And when it finally arrived, viewers sensed that it wasn't merely an angry outburst. It was the surface-level crack of a deep emotional fault line stretching back through childhood. In the immediate aftermath of the statement, social media erupted. Thousands of fans and critics weighed in, some expressing heartbreak that the Brown family had reached such a state of fragmentation, others saying they were not surprised at all. Many pointed to Kody's long pattern of defensiveness, emotional avoidance, and favoritism toward Robin as key reasons for the growing divide with his older children. Leon's statement, they argued, simply confirmed what the show had been illustrating for years. What struck fans most was the emotional clarity behind the comment. It didn't attempt to soften the truth. It didn't leave room for misinterpretation. It was raw, honest, and final. A single sentence that carried the weight of years of hurt, disappointment, and unmet expectations. As fans revisited old episodes, they began piecing together moments that now seem glaringly significant. Scenes where Leon looked uncomfortable or emotionally distant. Episodes where Mary cried over feeling disconnected from Kody. Moments where Kody appeared dismissive of Leon's emotional needs. The family story, once told through the lens of unity and plural love, now looked starkly different. A story marked by imbalance, unaddressed wounds, and a father who often believed passion could replace consistency. And Kody's silence since the comment surfaced has only added fuel to the speculation. While some insiders claim he is deeply hurt, others say he is refusing to acknowledge the statement publicly out of fear it will damage his already fragile reputation. But the truth remains, silence speaks loudly, and his refusal to address Liam's pain only reinforces the perception that emotional accountability has never been his strength. Meanwhile, fans are also looking to Mary for a response. While she has not publicly commented, sources close to her suggest she is heartbroken but not surprised. Mary and Leon share a uniquely profound bond, shaped through years of navigating emotional difficulty together. A mother always knows when her child has reached their breaking point, and those who know the family believe Leon reached that point long ago. What remains uncertain now is what this moment means for the future of the Brown family. Can the relationship between Kody and Leon ever be repaired? Will more siblings step forward to share their own truths? And how will this affect future seasons of Sister Wives, a show now built not on the dream of unity, but on the ashes of a family fractured beyond recognition? What is clear, however, is that Leon's public declaration marks the beginning of a new era in the Brown family narrative, an era where silence is no longer the norm, where children are unafraid to speak their truth, and where reality TV can no longer gloss over the emotional consequences of polygamy. Leon's words carry the power of 1,000 unspoken sentences, and in calling their father a joke of a father, they are not merely casting judgment. They are reclaiming their story, their voice, and their emotional autonomy. And whether viewers agree with Leon or defend Kody, one undeniable truth has emerged. The Brown family will never be the same. In the swirling and ever-turbulent world of the Sister Wives universe, the Brown family has once again been pulled into the blazing center of public attention. This time, the storm is not fueled by marital fractures, broken covenants, or yet another deeply emotional confession from Kody Brown. Instead, it is the powerful voice of one of his own children, Leon Brown, that has ignited a wildfire across social media. With a blunt, emotionally charged statement calling their father a joke of a father, Leon has triggered what may be one of the most explosive waves of backlash the Brown patriarch has faced since Sister Wives premiered over a decade ago. The incident has quickly become one of the most talked about topics among fans, critics, and longtime viewers who have witnessed the unraveling of the once idealistic polygamous family dynamic. For years, the public has watched the Browns attempt to portray unity, faith, and resilience. But as time has shown, the fractures behind the scenes run deeper than any camera could fully capture. And now, one of the family's most private relationships, between a father and child, has burst into the public eye with a force that cannot be ignored. The statement from Leon did not surface during a formal interview or through a curated post. Instead, it came from a raw, deeply personal response to fan speculation online regarding Kody's involvement in his children's lives. As the comments circulated, it was met with shock, heartbreak, and a wave of support for Leon, who has long kept their criticisms private despite the family's public status. The unexpected confrontation has raised numerous questions. What led Leon to finally break their silence? What does this mean for Kody's increasingly strained relationship with his adult children? And how much longer can the father of 18 withstand the mounting accusations that paint him as emotionally absent, controlling, and now, in the words of one of his own children, a mere joke?
When Sister Wives first premiered on TLC back in 2010, fans were captivated by the seemingly harmonious world of Kody Brown and his 4 wives. The show promised a look inside a faith-based polygamous family that claimed to function on love, respect, and divine order. But behind the smiles, family dinners, and idealistic talk about plural marriage, something much darker simmered beneath the surface. And now, over a decade later, one of Kody's daughters, Kody Brown Padron, is pulling back the curtain to reveal that things were not as they appeared, especially when it came to Robyn's entry into the family. According to Kody, Robyn might have been tricked into marrying Kody, misled by a carefully constructed illusion that hid the Browns' true dysfunction. Kody, the daughter of Kody and Christine Brown, has become increasingly vocal about her family's complicated history as Sister Wives continues to unravel. What began as a show about unity has transformed into a televised chronicle of heartbreak, jealousy, and emotional collapse. During a recent conversation shared online, Kody hinted that Robyn entered the family under false pretenses, and that what she saw before marriage wasn't the full reality. She explained that before Robyn joined the Brown family, everyone was on their best behavior, presenting an image of harmony that no longer existed. The fractures, resentment, and deep unhappiness among Kody's wives had been quietly brushed under the rug, hidden from the new bride-to-be. For years, fans have debated whether Robyn knew what she was signing up for when she married Kody. At the time, Robyn was portrayed as a sweet, spiritual, single mother looking for love and faith in plural marriage. But Kody's revelations suggest that the Browns were already a family in crisis, one struggling to keep up appearances for both Robyn and the cameras. She described how everyone, including her own mother Christine, felt pressure to appear united and loving when Robyn came around. The goal was to make the family seem functional, to give Robyn the impression that joining them would be peaceful and rewarding. But behind closed doors, the cracks were already spreading. Kody's relationship with his first wife, Mary, had grown tense and distant. Janelle was quietly frustrated with Kody's leadership and favoritism, and Christine was battling loneliness and emotional neglect. McKelty admitted that as a teenager, she could sense the tension but was told to smile through it when Robin was present. In her words, "We were pretending to be something we weren't. Robin didn't see the truth until after she married my dad." The revelation adds an unsettling twist to Robin's long-standing position as Kody's favorite wife. Many viewers have accused her of breaking up the family, but McKelty's account paints a more complicated picture, one where Robin might have been misled into a role she never fully understood. If the family deliberately hid their problems, then Robin's decision to marry Kody was based on a false version of reality. She didn't see the fighting, the emotional coldness, or the resentment that would later consume the Browns. She saw a warm, faithful household, a family that promised love, children, and togetherness. Over the years, fans watched that illusion crumble. The once happy plural marriage began to fall apart in real time as Christine left in 2021, followed by Janelle and Mary in 2022. Only Robin remained with Kody, left standing in the ruins of a dream that had turned to dust. But if McKelty's claims are true, Robin was never the architect of the family's downfall. She was its final recruit, drawn into an already broken system. McKelty's statements have stirred intense reactions online. Viewers who once criticized Robin for her tears and possessiveness are now reconsidering their opinions. Some argue that Robin knew exactly what she was doing, that she played innocent but understood the power dynamic she was entering. Others believe McKelty's story makes sense, especially given how hard the family worked to maintain appearances for the public. After all, Sister Wives was about image from the start. The family was launching a television show, introducing themselves to the world as an example of how plural marriage could work. To admit their dysfunction then would have meant risking everything: the show, the reputation, and the opportunity to shape the public's perception of their lifestyle. Robin, however, wasn't just a cast member. She was an outsider walking into a family already under stress. She didn't see the resentment Kody's other wives harbored toward his emotional favoritism, and she didn't know that the man she was marrying was already emotionally distant from two of his other wives. McKelty explained that the family dynamic shifted immediately after Robin entered the picture. What had been hidden was suddenly impossible to ignore. Christine's jealousy deepened, Mary's loneliness worsened, and Janelle began retreating more and more into independence. The illusion couldn't hold any longer.
In the immediate aftermath of the statement, social media erupted. Thousands of fans and critics weighed in, some expressing heartbreak that the Brown family had reached such a state of fragmentation, others saying they were not surprised at all. Many pointed to Kody's long pattern of defensiveness, emotional avoidance, and favoritism toward Robin as key reasons for the growing divide with his older children. Leon's statement, they argued, simply confirmed what the show had been illustrating for years. What struck fans most was the emotional clarity behind the comment. It didn't attempt to soften the truth.